Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sketch and Chill. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I just thought I would get straight into giving you some tips, hopefully, on loose painting, or painting in a loose style is more to the point. Anyway, as you can see here, my reference photo is well, I don't know what the building is, but it's in a place called Scarborough in Yorkshire in the UK. And I took this photo a couple of months ago when we were spending a few days there. It was just appealed to me. Anyway, as they say, I will now show you one I prepared earlier. So here we go. There's my loose ink sketch of that particular building. It took me, I don't know, maybe about probably less than an hour to do this, so there it is. So let's get into the loose painting side of things. Firstly, what am I going to use? Well, just the usual watercolours, of course. And what am I using brush wise? Well, couple of trusty water brushes here, medium one and a slightly smaller one, and this is just I think it's a squirrel hair brush, and it's really I just use it for applying water. That's all really. Now before we get into that, I will give you a couple of tips. I was going to say rules, but I won't, because there are no rules for sketching or painting in loose style. It's whatever suits you. Having said that, I will give a couple of tips. Firstly, I would say always hold your brush towards the end here rather than up here. Okay, so that's pretty simple. What else? Yeah, well, again, it's not a rule, it's just a tip. Personally, I would always use plenty of water. I'm a great believer in wet painting, so I tend to use quite a lot of water. Doesn't matter if you don't, you can just go straight in with the paint. The other thing I would say is when you're painting loose style, don't worry about keeping within the outlines of the sketch. It doesn't matter if you go outside or mix one building colour with another building colour, if you will. It doesn't matter. And the only other thing I can think of is don't worry about matching colours. I mean, you know, just use your reference photo just as a rough guide. I mean, you know, predominantly here we've got variations of red and orange and raw sienna, burnt sienna, and Payne's grey, blues, and green there. Just use it as a very rough guide. That's all I do. Okay, so that's the few tips I've got. So let's get straight in with the sky. Again, you don't have to start with the sky. It's just the way most people do it. So, plenty of water. Again, it doesn't matter if the water overlaps onto the sketch. This is not, strictly speaking, watercolour paper really. It's just, as I mentioned in the previous video, it's just art. It's just thick art paper, A4 size, and it works pretty well. Okay, there we are. That's the wet down. Let's go for the medium brush pen, what do we call it? And as always, I usually start with cerulean blue. And again, you don't have to be too Careful about this. Reference photo is just a very rough guide. I love skies because you can't go wrong, can you? Because whatever you do is right. Okay, that's the cerulean blue, little bit of cobalt blue, perhaps. Here and there. And there you go. Okay, I'm going to stop the video for the moment and let that dry. Okay, back with you. I just realised I paused the video to let it dry, but I'm sort of almost breaking one of my rules in a way. Why wait for it to dry? It doesn't matter, because if I put paint on here and it mixes with the sky a little, that doesn't really matter. Anyway, onwards and upwards. So, next step, for me, anyway, again, good old plain water, just anywhere, just put it around there. And it doesn't matter what colour I start with. Let's start with some sort of sienna, raw sienna, I think it is. I'm not really very good on colour recognition. I just sort of pick one that looks nice and go for it. So anyway, and again, like I say, just using the reference photos, a very rough guide. All I do is just, almost randomly just put some colour down, really. Here and there, doesn't matter. That'll do. And the other thing I didn't mention is, of course, don't worry about mixing colours on the page. Let's go for some sort of a red this time. Well, the other thing I'm thinking about while I'm doing this is I tend to like the old adage of, less is more. So I would say try not to fill the whole painting with paint. Again, here and there. This is all very random. And that'll probably do for the moment. With the red, let's go for, what, I don't know, yellow, why not? As you can see, I'm not really giving this too much thought. And one of my favourite colours of all, purple. Just love purple. Maybe a little bit on the roof there. Maybe a little bit there. There. And while I've got this nice lovely dark colour, why not do a little bit of the old splatter? You can never go wrong with a bit of splatter, I say. Some of it might go into the sky, it doesn't matter. And my next favourite colour, I think, is probably cerulean blue. Don't know why, I always feel that cerulean blue next to purple always works. Don't know why, but I think it does. See, sometimes I'm hitting bits of paper that have already dried, so what I tend to do is I just put some water on it. Now what? I don't know. Let's go for some deep red. Why not? It's dried a bit there, so a little bit of water just to diffuse that out a bit. See, already I'm getting to the point I'm thinking, well, you know, that might just be enough for the moment. I'm not really following the reference photo at all. I'm just... See, it's not right in terms of reality, but nonetheless, you know, it's a reasonable effect. It's a nice effect. Okay, we've got some green bins. Let's just put a bit of water there. A bit of green here and there, just to indicate they're bins. A bit more water down this way. Okay, bit of Prussian, bit of Prussian blue here and there, I think. Why not? And to be honest, I don't really think I should be doing much more now at this point. So I'll probably just a little bit down here first. A little bit in the doorway. Right, okay, I'm going to let that dry because the next stage will be some grey felt tip pens, just to put a few highlights in here and there. So the next stage is just to do some highlights with some of these fibre tip pens, all in different shades of grey. Now, I don't know, this might take me several minutes or so, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to do this and speed it up so that it doesn't get too tedious. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's about as far as I need to go now, I think. Half the battle is knowing when to stop, really. It's very tempting just to keep going on messing about endlessly. So I think this is a good place to stop. I hope this has helped in some small way. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll be back again in the near future. Bye for now.